Bob Baxter here again, director at the Runaway Stage in Sacramento. Let's talk about the history of the theater.
Okay. Runaway Stage was started in 1997, 15 years ago. It was started by 5 state workers who wanted to do theater. A friend of mine at the time, Brian McCann, said to me, I want to do this show, and I want you to direct, and I want Lillian to costume the show. But I don't know how to go forward with this. So we met, we talked about it, and then we produced one show at the Eagle Theater in Old Sacramento. Little theater. I think you could fit
historic.
Very historic theater.
Yeah.
So we were in Old Sacramento, and that's where the name Runaway Stage comes from.
Okay.
Runaway Stage, Runaway Hit, Stagecoach, Old Sac. So we produced one show. It was Serenity Lost, A Tale of Gold, Greed, and Gossip. It was an original. It was a melodrama. And we were able to change it and adapt it and work with it. And it was a musical. It was a lot of fun to do. Well, it was successful. It was very well successful for Old Sacramento. So they came to us and said, well, how would you like to do this on an ongoing basis? So we did. But they said, we really want you to do Western musicals. I can think of 5 Western musicals. So that didn't last very long. We did a couple of Western musicals. They were a success. We kept going. And then we talked to them, and we talked to the management there, and we were able to expand it to any Broadway musical. And so we did the Broadway musicals there. We did a season and a half at the Eagle Theater in Old Sac.
Did you use an orchestra for all of the shows?
Then we didn't have room for an orchestra. We had piano, bass, and drums.
Okay.
Sometimes piano and drums, depending on the show. Now we produce with a live orchestra, a full live orchestra, whatever is called for in the show, with the Runaway Stage Productions resident orchestra. We're unique in town as the only company that I'm aware of that has a resident orchestra that stays with us for the entire season, and many times multiple seasons.
Are they volunteers?
They are volunteers. They receive a small stipend for gas, and trust me, it is a small stipend, as we're a nonprofit company, but they're very dedicated. They like what we do on stage, and we love what they do in the pit.
So they're on a level, a musical level of professional quality.
Yes, absolutely. As a matter of fact, some of the musicians are professional musicians that work in professional venues and then come and help us out in our work.
So comparing the decades, 90s, 2000s, now we're in the 2010s, what's been the best decade for theater for the Runaway Stage?
Wow, what was the best decade? I think it was the last one we just completed. I think, 2000 to 2010 was really, really good for us, and now we're moving on. So it just keeps getting better. The staffing gets better, the artists involved, the performers involved, the musicians involved. It just keeps growing and growing and getting more and more professional.
Do you feel that the location helps because it's kind of in Midtown, and that's kind of where a lot of people have interest?
The location has its good points and its bad points. The location, it's a wonderful theater. It has a great feel, and it's the right size. It's 260 seats. Mm-hmm. However, there are limits in the theater. The backstage is very small. There is no fly space in the theater. There isn't actually an orchestra pit. We create one by putting up a temporary wall. So there are drawbacks to it. The location is nice. A lot of people know where it is, but we're constantly educating people on where we're located. And they don't know that this wonderful theater is happening in this little space here south of Broadway.
How do they know? How do people find out and come to the show?
Well, we have a lot of ways that we try to outreach to folks. We have emails that we work with through our clients. Any of our patrons who have purchased single tickets before get to hear about our future productions and what's going on. We do postering and flyering that the cast does out with the audience. We do some paid advertising through the Sacramento Bee. Blogs like yourself, those type of people that help us get the word out about what we're doing and the quality of what we're doing.
Because I understand from talking with a few other theater people that the internet has really helped, like social networking.
Social media is a huge way to get our word out. We have a Twitter account, we have Facebook. We're continually trying to get a hold of the people that are involved in those types of marketing. But then you have your patrons who aren't involved in that. Mm-hmm. So we have to use the traditional ways to reach them, the newer ways, the more social media ways to reach the newer clients.
What about schools? Do you reach out to schools?
We do. We send out press releases. We'll send out flyers about upcoming workshops and things like that schools might be interested in or their students might be interested in order to outreach and try and get more people involved in our workshops.
It seems to be mainly a family audience you're going after, is that right?
Well, it's kind of a family honest. Remember, our season includes usually new products, some edgy product, a family show, a traditional, so we try and hit the gamut for everybody.
Okay, great. Well, Bob, anything else you'd like to add?
Just we really appreciate your help in getting the word out, and come on down and see the theater.
Great, thank you very much.
You're
Bob
welcome.
Baxter, director at the Runaway Stage.
Hi, it's good to see you.
That is hilarious.
Bye guys, have a good holiday.
There's all kinds of stuff.
This is crazy. She tried out for